Morning students, my name is Edwin Amrit Bujel and I'll be teaching SST to you all this year. So I guess this is going to be the first class. So let's start. And I'm using a board. And apart from this, I'll be sending you some of the notes. Please go through it. And on top of that, I'll be sending you one PDF file. Please match and go through it. And if you have any problem, please inbox me or please text me personally. Okay, is it fine? Okay, now let's start the chapter. Okay, today the date is 16th May 2020 and it's class 10, and the subject is going to be geography. And this is the first chapter of geography, and the name of the chapter is Resources, R-E-S-O-U-R-C-E-S, Resources, and Development, D-E-V-E-L-O-P-E-M-E-N-T, Development. So students, as I've told you earlier, that first we are going to do some of the easier chapter, then we will go to some of the chapter which are complicated. But always remember that from this chapter, most of the time there will be few questions in your CBSE from this chapter. So when I write resources and development, first we have to know what is resources and what is development. So let's study about this resources. What is this? Resources. R-E-S-O-U-R-C-E-S, resources. Students, everything. See, I have written here. I'll be sending you this file, this notes too. So here I have written everything which are available in our environment, which can satisfy our needs, is called as resources. So here the resources, it is available in our environment. Okay, number one is this. Number two is it can satisfy, S-A-T-I-S-F-I-E, satisfy our wants. Okay, then after, so what happens is these 2 points, I just want to highlight these 2 points. At first, in case of resources, everything which is available in our environment. So what happens is, students, when you get outside or when you are inside the room, you are surrounded with environment. So what happens is there are different types of environment, and this resources, we get it in our environment. That means we get in our surroundings. And number 2 point is this resources has the capability to satisfy our wants. Understood? Resources are found in our environment and resources satisfy our wants. So example, let me give you some example. What are the resources? Example, one of the natural resources which can satisfy our wants is water. Let me give you a simple example. Example, if you are thirsty and water has got the capability to quench your thirst, so it is also one of the resources. Okay, and this is natural resources. And another is petrol. See, in case of this petrol, so what happens is petrol is the product of petroleum. So what happens is this is also one of the resources by which it helps us in transportation. But there are many countries who will generate electricity or energy from the petrol. But we in India, we have only two big petroleum mines, so we cannot use petrol in order to generate energy, but rather we use other forms of energy. Next, in case of our environment, we find different types of things, and all of this is regarded as resources. So let me tell you, revise it once more. Number one, resources is everything which is available in our environment and that has the capability to satisfy our wants. And if the resources does not satisfy our wants, it's not called as resources. Okay, now let me go to another point. Okay, number two, what are the classification of resources? Number 2 point is classification, classification, classification of resources, resources, resources. Now the term classification means how the resources has been divided. Okay, how the resources has been divided. So resources has been divided in many types, or there are different types of resources. I'm going to explain you this on the classification of resources, and they are going to be like this. Number one, on the basis of origin. On the basis of origin. Here what happens is, on the basis of origin, the word origin means from where does it start. Understood? From where does it start? Say for an example, what happens is, the origin of fish is in water. Understood? The origin of bird can be in a tree or in the nest. Okay, so from where does it start? So classification of resources on the basis of origin, there are two types of resources. One is called as biotic, and another is called as abiotic resources. Okay, on the basis of origin, there are two types of resources. One is called as biotic and another is called as abiotic resources. Okay, and I'm going to explain you this in a descriptive way so that you may not have any confusion. Number one, biotic resources. Here I have written this. Biotic resources are those living organisms which we can obtain from the biosphere. Here, this biotic resources, we will get it from biosphere. Okay, and I guess you understand the term biosphere. So what happens is, biosphere is a narrow realm where it is the interaction of lithosphere, atmosphere, and